What's up, everyone? It's Rich Brecklin with eXp Realty and Arizona Life. Welcome back to another episode. So this video, I want to show you, what it's like to actually make that move to Arizona. How do you move to Arizona? How do you leave that place that you're really not happy with, and how do you make it here, your dream spot? And today I'm going to show you exactly what we did to leave Illinois and land right here in the Great 48. So the order of this may be a little different depending on what your situation is and depending on why you're moving. Are you moving here because you're retiring? Are you moving here, for a new career, a new life? Depending what that is, that may, your order of importance of how you do things. But for us, it was, okay, we're moving here. What are we doing? So luckily with me and my career, we were expanding. So we were expanding from Central Illinois into Phoenix, and it's just like that. It's just, starting a new business, starting marketing, and getting a foothold here in Phoenix and getting my name out there and getting business moving. So that was kind of our first step to make that move, along with, getting our home in Illinois, ready to sell, and all the projects that go along with selling your home. What we also took into account was the budget, our current budget, what the budget was going to look like in Arizona, from housing to, food, schools. We sent our daughter to a private school in Illinois. Do we need to send to a private school here in Phoenix? Well, we chose not to. The schools that we are at in Gilbert, we absolutely love, and there really was not the need to go to the private route. And then that budget of, like I said, housing, the taxes are so much cheaper here. It's laughable that, I was paying almost 10 grand a year in property taxes, and here, for the same price home, or actually more, those taxes run $2,000. So it's crazy what those taxes are. So what you really want to look at next is housing. Where are you going to live? Are you going to rent a house, rent an apartment, or are you just going to sleep in a tent on the side of the road? Are you going to buy a house? I would not wait, until you get here with your U-Haul or whatever it is and try and find housing then. Get that housing figured out ASAP. So if you're going to buy a house, get pre-approved well in advance. Know exactly where you stand. Do you have to sell your home at your current location before you get here? That throws a whole nother wrench into things. Or are you good to go now? Can you buy a house now? Or maybe you're buying cash. But getting that lined up, know what or how much you want to spend. That is going to start off, that's going to be the most important factor of, how much do I want to spend? So let's say you're looking at buying, knowing, how much you want to spend, and then narrowing it down to, which town in Phoenix. There's so many smaller pockets that you may not be aware of. And that's, what I'm trying to do on this channel is, get that education out there. And then from those towns, what neighborhood? So identifying that location where you want to live. Now for us, we did our research, and we knew from visiting here and just coming here, friends and family here, is we wanted to be in Gilbert in Power Range for a lot of reasons. We have 2 daughters and a dog, and we wanted that neighborhood feeling with the community, with the pools, the parks, the schools. And that's why we chose that neighborhood, because it was important to us. It was important to the family, important to the girls. That just a really, really great spot that I and my wife, we wanted to raise our kids there. So that's what went into it as far as, how we chose where we wanted to call home here. Now, when it comes to the actual move, here's exactly what we did. So we got rid of so much stuff out of our house before, this is a year in advance. We had a dumpster come, and we got rid of, there's stuff I couldn't even believe that I still held on to from college. Old 40s. Like, why would I have that still? But we got rid of just a ton of stuff. And, that really helped prepare our home for sale, and it just felt good to get rid of stuff. Some stuff we didn't throw in the dumpster, we donated or gave away. It just, things we no longer needed. Then when it came time to actually moving, we already knew what I was doing for my career. We had the budget figured out. We had our new home. And then, all right, we're going to move here. So how are we going to do that? So we have, all of our stuff. We have our daughters and our dog in 2 cars. So we really didn't want to drive separately with, all our stuff and, separated from the kids and the dog. So what we decided was my wife and I rented a U-Haul trailer. I think it was 12 by 6, hooked up to my truck, filled that up, and filled my truck up. And just she and I drove from Central Illinois to Arizona. So it was about a 24-hour drive. We did it in a day and a half. Now, day one, we drove 14, 15 hours from Peoria, Illinois to Amarillo, Texas. We had dinner at the Big Texan. I would not recommend it. It was definitely a tourist trap, like I was warned, but it was still fun nonetheless. Now, we thought we were going to get a hotel that night, but that was part I did not think through. Every hotel in the town was completely booked. So, I thought I was going to be able to lay my head down for a while and relax. That was not the case. So I was like, well, let's just keep driving. So I was going to go into Santa Rosa, New Mexico, which would have been, a few hours more, but we stopped in Tucumare, New Mexico, which is around an hour and 40 more beyond that. Now, before we got there, I did make sure that they had, available rooms. So we stayed the night there, got up around 4 a.m. the next morning, and then she and I finished out the drive into Gilbert, and we got there around 1 p.m. Arizona time. So all in all, it was not that bad. Now, the trailer and the truck, they were fine. So we got the trailer to the house, unloaded it, and returned the trailer. So we took things, we didn't necessarily need at home, but it were going to be great for when we got there. We didn't bring a lot of our furniture. A lot of furniture we got rid of or sold or donated. I think we only brought like my daughter's bed and one sectional, but we're buying a lot of new furniture. And this is kind of not in the order I wanted to go, but think about it. Like, you're paying, in a sense, you're paying somewhere to move it for you, or you're paying in fuel to transport it. You're transporting your furniture and belongings from where you came from, and that might not go when you get here. The decor might not work. The style may not fit, like I said, or just may not be the right size, or just maybe it's time for just new stuff. But that's what we decided to do. So we did not bring as much of the furniture, as we had at our old house. And it really helped getting a lot of the things for when we landed with our girls, that we already had a lot of that stuff situated. Went to the store and got some stuff in the fridge and, the pantry that, would keep. So once we got all that done, we returned the trailer, we left my truck at the house, we flew back, from Phoenix back to Peoria, and then we got the rest of the stuff packed. So we had a pod dropped off. It was a 16 by 8 by 8 pod, and we got the rest of the big stuff in there. So that pods, it was really great. They dropped it off, we filled it, they picked it up a few days later, and then they sent it on its way to Gilbert. Now, the pod probably actually made it to Gilbert before we did, but we had a set day where they would drop it off at the house. So in the meantime, we worked on getting the house ready, and then just make sure everything was good to go there. Then we rented another U-Haul trailer, and we filled that with the rest of the stuff. And a lot of that stuff we would need along the way. She has a 4Runner, but we didn't have much room inside to put like our luggage and things we would need in the short term, because the dog crate was back there. So we filled the U-Haul with, just the rest of our stuff at the house and our luggage, dog food, just things like that we need along the way. And, we didn't want to go in the pod because we wanted to have accessible right when we got there. And we left on our journey. It's a 24-hour drive, but when you have kids, ours are 3 and 7, plan on that drive taking a little bit longer. But we also broke it up into 3 days instead of a day and a half. Especially with the kids, we knew there might be, emotionals, a lot of big changes. You're not just leaving your house, the only home they've known, but the only place they've known, saying all their goodbyes. So, we're just going to make this fun is what we thought. So day number 1, we drove from Central Illinois to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we stayed at a hotel there. Now, I learned my lesson the first time, and we had that room booked well in advance. And we also made sure to make sure, that's a lot of make sures. We also made sure that it was pet friendly, so we got all that done, because we do have our German Shepherd that came along with us. Now, one thing to think about, we had my wife's 4Runner and the U-Haul is, where am I going to park this thing, at the hotel parking lot? So I looked on Google Maps at different hotels I was looking at booking, and made sure they had the double parking spaces where you could park through and take up, the 2 spots more or less, where you could drive straight through. A lot of them, the hotels, it was just, the perimeter parking. Well, that was going to be a pain, especially if they're full. Where am I going to park this trailer? So I don't know why I thought of that, but I'm glad I did, because the first hotel I was going to book, there was no spot if I had that trailer with me. But we stayed at a great hotel in Tulsa. I don't remember what it was, but it served its purpose. From there, we got up, we left, and we drove to Albuquerque, which was around another, I don't know, 8 hours give or take, and stayed at a hotel there. And from Albuquerque, we left and made it into Gilbert. Now, what I love about coming that direction is coming down through Payson, especially if you're coming with family, with kids. It's such a cool drive. It really doesn't feel like you are coming into the desert. It feels like you're in, northern Michigan or Wisconsin, coming through the pines and just, the upper elevation. It's really, really cool. Now, I know I mentioned I had a dog, and he's a 1.5 year, high drive, working line German Shepherd. I wasn't sure how he would operate or cooperate with this long drive. He's never gone on a long car ride like that. But I had a extra large Ruffland crate in the back of my wife's 4Runner, and a lot of people will have their dogs loose, but that's not the most, I guess, safe option for your dog. If you're ever in an accident or whatever, your dog's gonna go flying. They're not secure. So that crate, it's a sturdy crate, and there's plenty of holes, for ventilation for him. But I also bought a Ryobi, the battery fans, and it comes with 2 battery packs, or I bought the 2 battery packs, and there's also an option where you can plug it in. So my wife's car has the option where you can run an outlet to it, which is awesome. But I never used it for that. I would use it to charge the battery, one of the extra batteries, while we were running the fan. But I had that fan just situated, had it on low, and just had it blowing on him while we were operating. So that way he didn't get too hot. And then every time we stopped for gas or just a break, which with the kids felt like a lot, I would get the dog out, do some training with him, walk around, go to the bathroom. That way, he's not just sitting there for 8 hours straight as we're traveling along the car. But he did great. You would not have known he was back there. And yes, stops. So I did not know my kids have to go to the bathroom that much. Holy cow. It felt like we were stopping at every gas station. But again, we knew we were not, thankfully, on we had to be there by a certain time. I mean, yeah, we wanted to get there. Driving in the middle of nowhere is not that fun, but plan on it taking a little bit more time, especially with the kids. But it's a relatively easy drive coming in through Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, all that. It's pretty simple, nothing too crazy. But when you're in parts of Texas and New Mexico, just do not pass on gas stations. There might be a spot where you're not going to see a gas station for a while. So they're a little bit more spread out. So, I made that mistake the first time. I didn't run out of gas, but I coasted in 3 miles to E. Again, things we learned along the way. So like I said, it's a blessing my kids had to go to the bathroom so much, because every time they stopped, I filled up with gas. So what would I have done differently? Well, there's a few things. One, I would have looked harder at hiring movers. Movers, to take everything in one trip. I look at one company, with a semi, where they come pack everything, send it out there, and unpack it. I wish I would have looked at more, because, we got it done, but it was such a huge pain, to be honest with you. I mean, just with the U-Haul and boxes and the pod. I mean, the pod, it was all great, but I wish I would have looked at my options a little bit further, because the pod was around $3,500, the U-Haul was $800 each time. So, I really don't want to go back and look, but did I save money, or did it really just cost me more time and energy? What I did do though, so my wife and I, we unloaded the first U-Haul by ourselves. But when we were going back out with the kids, we understand we have both kids there, the dog, and it's going to be 108 degrees when we arrive. Do we want to be unpacking this U-Haul by ourselves and the pod by ourselves, and still keep an eye on the kids? So we hired movers to unpack the pod and the U-Haul. Now granted, they weren't there for long, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, but they had 8 people and they got done. And I'm so thankful I did that, because it was $300 to $500, give or take, $300 to $500, but it was well worth it. They made short work of it, and it took a huge stress relief off my wife and I, especially carrying a bed or couch or furniture upstairs. This having them and the professionals do it, it was well worth the money. Another thing I've learned: bring less. Now, we thought we got rid of a ton. Well, until you have it all at your new place, there's a lot of stuff that we're never going to use. So I find myself asking, why did I bring this? Why did I bring this? What is this? Especially with all these kids' toys. I mean, this stuff they're never going to play with again. So I wish we had donated more of this stuff that we brought that we're never going to use. But we'll be donating here. But it's just more things we could have left at home, not taking up so much space. So, bring less stuff for sure. And I think one of the most important things learned along this trip is we should have moved a long time ago. I don't know. I mean, fear holds back so many people, but it's amazing here. We love everything about it. Even the heat. The heat, everyone says it's awful. Honestly, really hasn't kept us from doing much. Yeah, I don't take the dog outside to work with them in the middle of the day, and we're more cautious about things, but we had wished we had done this move a long time ago. My 3 tips are: bring less, look at movers, and do it now. So if you have any more questions about what it's like to make Arizona your home, reach out directly or send me an email, rich@arizonalife.net. And I would love to be your real estate agent of choice and help you with anything you need along the way. Have a great day.